The film concept emerged from an unusual premise that combined elements reminiscent of Jaws with unicorns and a critique of pharmaceutical dynasties. The story followed Elliot Kintner, a recently widowed man struggling to connect with his daughter while navigating financial difficulties. His situation led him to work for the Leupold family, whose patriarch, Odell, stood on the verge of death. Once Elliot secured his position as proxy on the family board, he believed he would earn enough to ensure stability for himself and his daughter. Ridley reluctantly accompanied Elliot, dragged along on his business journey. During their travels, they struck a baby unicorn with their vehicle. When Ridley touched the creature's horn, she experienced a profound vision, revealing universal secrets, and established a mystical communion with the animal. This transformative encounter propelled her onto a moral path, determined to protect the unicorns and honor what she had witnessed. Upon arriving at the Leupold ranch, the family discovered the unicorn and immediately killed it. They quickly realized the creature possessed magical curative properties consistent with unicorn mythology throughout history. Elliot and Ridley found themselves at the mercy of the Leopolds, who manipulated them into incorporating the unicorn into their ambitious plans. The family saw potential for developing a cure for cancer and other diseases, prioritizing profit over ethics. The Leupold family functioned as an insane collective, representing the film's strongest dynamic because they understood one another flawlessly and operated with unified purpose. They embodied deep, moral, corruption, awful people who nonetheless proved hilarious in their depravity. The family strategized about targeting individuals who had experienced public health scares, reasoning that the worse someone's condition, the better the business opportunity. Odell pursued any means to extend his life, willing to sacrifice anything for survival. The cast found working with Richard E. Grant exhilarating, with some expressing disbelief at the opportunity. Téa Leoni proved so comedically effective that her co-stars struggled not to laugh during scenes, knowing that even looking at her risked ruining takes. Her character, Belinda, represented a particular brand of awfulness. She genuinely believed herself fabulous and performed elaborate impersonations of empathy. She casually discussed evacuating or vaccinating refugees with equal indifference, embodying hollow philanthropy. The performance proved genuinely entertaining to inhabit. Shepard, portrayed by another cast member who jokingly admitted to playing an idiot because he considered himself one, marched around the set in tiny shorts like an oversized toddler. He obsessed over trivial details like insisting on matte paper over glossy alternatives. The production functioned as a genuine ensemble piece, with the cast appreciating the opportunity to gather numerous characters under one roof and systematically eliminate them through the narrative. The remaining cast members proved phenomenal, creating an atmosphere where everyone felt they were witnessing exceptional talent. The ensemble contained no weak links, allowing everyone to fully engage in creative play because every performer brought complete commitment. The collaborative energy enabled genuine artistic exploration. Multiple cast members joined the project because it represented something genuinely weird and original. Director Alex Sharfman had initially possessed no connection to unicorns before beginning his research, but his investigation led him deep into the earliest unicorn mythology. He approached the concept from the perspective that if unicorns existed, then the ancient stories about them might also contain truth. The realization that no one had created a contemporary unicorn film treating the creatures as real animals felt like a lightning bolt revelation. Throughout most of human history, unicorns were believed to be actual creatures, making their modern dismissal as pure fantasy somewhat anomalous. Sharfman saw an opportunity to recontextualize and update medieval unicorn narratives for contemporary audiences, drawing inspiration from historical tapestries and artistic depictions. The creature design deliberately moved away from conventional unicorn imagery, the simple concept of a horse with a horn. Typical childhood descriptions envision creatures that produce rainbows and leave golden trails. The film sought to permanently obliterate those innocent images. The unicorns themselves emerged as incredible creations. Cast members described seeing the creatures in person during the first week of production as one of the most amazing experiences they had ever encountered. The unicorns were crafted as puppets by artists of extraordinary skill. Watching these creations breathe and move their heads proved genuinely exciting. The creature design process involved meticulous attention to detail, focusing on subtle shifts from familiar equine characteristics. Small touches like talons on hooves distinguished these animals from ordinary horses. The production team and director prioritized creating a tactile, physical object that actors could interact with directly. The puppets were brilliantly constructed with remarkable realism. puppeteers maneuvered them with such empathy that performers felt they stood before giant, living animals. One veteran actor noted that at his age, he typically died in every film, but being killed by a unicorn's horn represented a novel experience he genuinely enjoyed. A particularly memorable kill scene featured Odell with a horn visibly rising through his open mouth, an effect that translated beautifully to the screen. When cast members first encountered the puppets, some became emotional, feeling transported back to childhood wonder. The striking realism of something so tactile promised to make a significant difference in how audiences would receive the film. Filming physical objects differed profoundly from creating digital effects, leading the production to carefully balance puppetry and visual effects carefully, ensuring each approach played a substantial role in bringing the unicorns to life. The visual effects team received regular updates as the creatures evolved from conceptual sketches to computer renderings to physical puppets that could be touched and manipulated. The cast collectively met the unicorns in a surreal group experience, with puppeteers demonstrating various rigs showing the creatures walking and snorting. The unicorns excelled at showing teeth and snarling, appearing and feeling almost too real. The puppetry demonstrated unparalleled artistry and technical prowess, astonishing in both construction and animation. Watching these creations come to life before their eyes proved excellent. The production involved extensive planning, combining puppets, visual effects, and occasionally real horses on set. The approach required defining each shot and determining the optimal tool for every moment. Using real horses on set provided crucial benefits. While the unicorns drew partly on equine skeletal and muscular structures, they were unique creatures. Having real, moving animals of similar shape and size on set provided invaluable references for visual effects and lighting, superior to puppet references alone. The production team shared footage of a horse meeting a puppet for the first time, an incredible moment witnessing two creatures, one flesh and blood and one artificially created, encountering one another. Audiences would never realize while watching the film that exterior house scenes were actually filmed on location, while interior scenes were constructed entirely on a soundstage. The Leupold Ranch felt like an authentic Montana hunting lodge built on an impressively American scale. The entire structure required approximately 3 months to construct, with 1 month dedicated to finalizing designs. Production designer Amy Williams created a space with interesting angles and hiding places for both creatures and characters. The art department executed phenomenal work, leaving virtually nothing to imagination because everything was physically constructed. The set featured a beautiful view of the Canadian Rockies, captured in photographs by producer Drew Hoopt during filming in Slovenia. Cast members loved working on a stage with such exquisitely crafted environments that made the location feel real. The craftsmanship proved extraordinary, with cast members jokingly bidding on set pieces to bring home for their patios. Everyone felt blown away when first walking through the completed sets. Every piece of artwork contained meticulous detail, including peculiar statues and carpets depicting animals consuming one another. The entire environment looked right while, at the same time, feeling subtly wrong in numerous small ways. The great room featured a fireplace, a custom bar for mixing unicorn blood cocktails, and a custom-made pool table upholstered in gold velvet. One of the film's most beautiful shots featured the billiard table designed in golden mustard tones. The scene featured a character dressed in white, seated at the table, as colorful, viscous, disgusting substances eventually covered the surface. The practical effect required building a fake bottom to the billiards table, with the actor's torso protruding above, while false belly and legs were positioned appropriately. Underneath, puppeteers manipulated the leg puppets. This sequence was one of the more entertaining days of practical effect shooting. All the woodwork and stone were genuinely authentic, creating daily amazement. One cast member expressed simultaneous admiration and frustration, wondering why such elaborate construction could be accomplished in months while their kitchen renovation required 2 years. The film proved difficult to classify, oscillating between horror, thriller, and comedy. It contained elements reminiscent of Rocky Horror Picture Show, Jaws, and Parenthood, a synthesis of unicorn mythology into a hybrid mashup combining John Carpenter and Spielberg sensibilities. The result functioned as action, horror, thriller, comedy, and satire simultaneously. At its core lay a love of cinema, particularly populist films that defined many childhoods. Influences ranged from Close Encounters in Jurassic Park to E.T., The Thing, Starman, and Alien. The combination allowed drawing from different pools of influence and distilling them into something original. What would surprise audiences is the moments of genuine catharsis, mainly derived from the relationship between the leads, Jenna Ortega and Paul Rudd. Their characters' relationship constituted the film's true heart and central focus. Ortega found working with Rudd an absolute pleasure, fascinated and blown away by his talent. She joked that he could probably become a convincing cult leader, possessing an extraordinary ability to connect with anyone, a trait she admired and wished she possessed. Rudd reciprocated the praise, calling Ortega phenomenal and consistently impressive. Director Alex Sharfman wrote something brilliant, seasoning every scene with numerous jokes and funny moments while maintaining believability. He proved to be the most collaborative filmmaker the cast had worked with, conducting extensive research despite creating a script about unicorns. Where carelessness would have been easy, Sharfman remained incredibly thoughtful, demonstrating deep knowledge of unicorn mythology that cast members found fascinating. He knew exactly what he wanted, having written the material himself, and possessed a particular style rooted in enthusiasm and exuberance. He provided precise direction whenever he managed to stop laughing. The production proved a blast, bringing together people spanning multiple countries and age ranges who developed an extraordinary bond and sense of camaraderie. The trickiest challenge involved not laughing at inappropriate moments and maintaining composure. Cast members found themselves working with people they had admired for years. The entire shoot felt special because everyone genuinely liked one another and spent time together off-set. The hope for audiences is to provoke both laughter and tears. Films that achieve both emotional registers are among the best cinema. If audiences could cry from laughter and then cry from sadness, the film would succeed completely. Viewers should prepare for shock, abundant laughter, cringing moments, potential frustration, unexpected regret and nostalgia, and ultimately hope. The ambition was to trigger the sensation that all conventional expectations had been abandoned. Occasionally, lightning could indeed be captured in a bottle,